Why are we LARPing when you can actually live? Hey gangstas, today we are on the topic of living your life versus LARPing. LARPing, as we all know, is basically just living a life that isn't yours. And you're just kind of putting this facade to make yourself seem more interesting when you're really not that interesting because you're just following a bunch of trends and hoping it lands. Why I felt a calling to this is just because everywhere I see on the internet, especially on Instagram lately, there's just been a bunch of people who just like post a bunch of bogus stuff. And I'm like, who is this account? They were not like this 6 months ago. And I mean, I get like people going through changes, but like this is just completely out of their aesthetic. Like for who I know they are, I'm like, this is very out of character. And it made me think, I was like, you know what? They're probably just LARPing. And that's okay. Like I get it. You're trying to look really cool. But I do think there's serious setbacks with living a life that isn't really yours. This is also the rise of performative people, the men that show up with books like The Bell Jar and actually aren't reading it. They're just bring it with them in their little tote bags, listening to Claro at a coffee shop getting a matcha. And some men do like matcha. I've met very few men who like matcha. So it's like, yeah, you know what? And you see it a lot in bigger cities. I don't really see it here in Sioux Falls very often just because maybe it's just the South Dakotans. I don't know. Usually in my opinion, South Dakota people are like very behind on trends. So maybe we'll see it in a few months. But for now, I don't see it that much. I like maybe that's kind of a badge on South Dakota, but I do think that, and I've thought about that since my freshman year when I moved to Sioux Falls in 2020. Yeah, 2020. And so I'm like, that's my take. Everyone's fashionably late, and the trends are off, and music is far behind. So that's my take with South Dakota. But as soon as I see it, that's fine. To get into the main topic, performativeness, that's not a word, is dead. I think that if you're living to perform, then whose life are you living? That's my genuine take on performative lifestyles and not living authentically to yourself. People want to say they live for the aesthetic, but you should be living for the authenticity of it. If you really feel like you need to make something aesthetic that's already in your life, then just romanticize it a little bit, make it a little aesthetic. Look up if you're really into working out, for example, like there's very certain aesthetics that you have to like reach for that. But I do think there's a lot of people roaming different aesthetics as they're working out because they're like, you know what, this is what I'm into and I want to bring it to the gym or I want to. So live authentically through yourself, but also you could still post like I'm not against posting pictures and looking cool. Like hell yeah, do that. But I'm against people who don't know how to make decisions and they're just sheep to trends and they want to listen to all the trends. They want to be like, yeah, you know what sounds really good? I don't know, like doing something stupid just because it's trendy. And that's lame. I think trends are there for people to like maybe be influenced and that's it. But I don't think people should be living just because it's trending. So we'll go through what it looks like, why it's negative to be a LARPer, and how to live your life, but not really. It's just kind of questions that you should be asking yourself as you're making decisions. And when you're, in route of who you are, you should be knowing these answers. So, who are we performing for? Is the first question I'll ask. Why are we crafting certain content for other people to enjoy when you can make stuff that you actually enjoy? My personal example is nobody's asked me to record my workouts and put a little quote on it, right? I love recording my workouts because one, I get direct feedback on how I look in the gym. So I'm like, oh wait, my squat form off, my heel went up, my ankle still hasn't healed since like forever ago, and I still have issues squatting. Whoops. But then also, I like to share that part of my life because I've been lifting for I don't know how many years. I didn't take it seriously until like 2 years ago, but I started working out when I was like in eighth grade. So it's been a big part of my life and it was something that was easy to continue doing, especially after softball. So I've always done it. But I like sharing that part of my life because I'm like, you know what, this is kind of my aesthetic. I've wanted to make content and this is part of who I am. So this would be an important piece to share with the world because this is kind of just one of my uh, you know, building blocks of who I am and who I'm becoming. I'm not performing for any means at all. I don't think most people who, like, let's say I'm posting for a crush, I don't think most men want to see me lift any more than them, you know? And so that's the honest truth. I'm not like that's the honest truth. I'm not just posting to make other people happy. I'm posting it because I'm like, oh, you know what? This is funny, or this is cool. This is something I want to share with people. Maybe this will impact somebody in a very positive way if I shared it. Back on the performative part. If you like posting your life so that other people approve of it, just say that. You know, you definitely are living a life that is full of comparison, full of, oh, well, like this person's doing this, so maybe I should do a variation of it. Or, like we're not using influence to influence ourselves. We're now using it to live a certain way because they're like, well, this is how this person does it, and then they completely switch who they are, which you lose in the process who you are as a person. Performative decisions lead to an inauthentic life. So, what are we doing? Again, I'm not saying that everything that is aesthetic is not authentic. Some people, like there's this girl I went to high school with, and her content has always been aesthetic. Like even when we were in high school, so like I would never question her larping because she is like so cool, and she's always been a cool girl. So it's like, yeah, you know what? This makes sense for her and her aesthetic because that's just who she is. And so that's a prime example of like this is just who she is, and that's really cool, and I love seeing her content on my feed. But there are some people that are like trying so hard to achieve that, and you can tell because it's just like, wow, why are you trying to perform so bad? Like who are you trying to impress? And it better be worth it. So with that, like not everybody's trying to be performative because some people just be doing that. That's just part of their blood. That's part of the DNA. They're cool because they're cool. The thing that I'm pointing out is, are you doing stuff for the reason that like you actually enjoy it, or is it just because everyone else is doing it? Like what's trending right now is kind of like hikes. And I feel like, I mean, I posted a hike a while back, but I also was like, I go on hikes a few times a year, and especially in the summer, I trail walk majority of the time. Like I'm just on the trails. But sometimes I whip out those boots. I got those boots like 2 years ago, and that really motivated me to go hiking. So like I'll go hiking. That's part of what I enjoy. I like being outside. Like after this, I'm literally going on a walk, like to the parks. But what I'm saying is that there's a lot of people that are just hiking because they're like, wait, it's trendy, the trendy gear, like buying all this expensive gear for what? Like, what are we for what? A mile walk in the big park next door? Like, let's be authentic here. I'll give another reason why this isn't a stable way to live, and it's because it'll affect your mental health. Because if you can't tell me who you are in a quick, like, 2 sentence summary, then obviously you don't know who you are, and you need to do that because there's not enough soul searching in this world. Like I've pushed for this, and I feel like that's something I repeat a lot, and like maybe that's common with like my own friends, but there are quite a few of like my own friends that still don't know who they are, and I can tell because they're like actively doing other stuff that I know they don't enjoy just because somebody else enjoys it in their friend group, and they're like, well, like this is just, well, like this is what blah blah blah, this is what this person's doing, this is, and I'm like, why are you doing it? You don't have to. Like prime example of that is, I okay, honestly I'm going to tie it back to workouts. I feel like some people just work out with like some people will go do hot yoga, and I'll say that in parentheses because, or in what, yeah, it is I don't know, bro, I'm not an English major. um it's like they're doing hot yoga, right? It's hit workouts, it's not hot yoga. And it's just because their friends are doing it, but they don't even enjoy it themselves. And I'm like, find something that you enjoy. If you like running, if you like walking, if you like biking, if you like lifting, if you like, I don't know, karate, like do something you actually enjoy. What are we doing? Like, why are you pretending to enjoy that? Like, that's prime LARP. Back with the mental health, if you're trying so hard to look cool, again, you're just losing so many pieces of yourself, and you can make the things that you're interested in look cool as well. Like there's so many aesthetic board, like look it up on Pinterest if you want to look up, like if you're really into chess. I mean, that has aura in itself. If you're really into chess, like that's really awesome. That's a bad example. Let's think about something that's kind of boring. Oh, I can't really think about something that's not trending, but I could maybe look at my hobby corner. If you're really into painting, I haven't seen many people paint lately. you can make it look very aesthetic. Look up a board about, like painting desk aesthetic. That's on Pinterest, right? And you can pull up so many pictures, you'd be like, you know what, I'm gonna replicate that because that's what I'm into, but I'm gonna make it look pretty, you know? And you can still do that. Like, I'm fully supportive of that. Like, I think I do that all the time where I'm like, oh, this layout looks really cool. I'm gonna take a picture, but I'm also gonna do it, you know? Like, I take in my Bible and like my notebook for notes to a coffee shop. And I was like, this looks so aesthetic, but I low key, I keep my religion, like the way I follow it, very private. So I'm like, I'll try to like kind of put in there that I'm reading the Bible, but also like try to make it look still my aesthetic because I don't want it to look like clean when I'm not very clean. I'm more like, I don't even know how to explain my aesthetic. It kind of changes. Like today, I'm looking a little fancy schmancy, but that's just because I went to church. And low key, this was the dress that I wanted to wear because I was like, this is light. It's a little hot outside. So I'm going to wear this little dainty little dress and put a little cardigan. I looked like a profesh, but I couldn't explain to you what my aesthetic is because it changes all the time. Because I'm like, well, you know what? I'm feeling this color. This color equals sea life. Let's look up salty granola vibes. And that's what I'm achieving. I don't know what I really achieved. Like, even looking at my apartment, I'm like, I couldn't tell you what exactly my aesthetic is. But I'm living authentically through myself. So it doesn't matter what aesthetic I'm following because guess what? I'm interested in everything that's in here. I bought it for a reason or I placed it there for a reason. Like, there's so many ways of me living authentically through myself because this is how I laid out my place. This is what I enjoy. This is who I am as a person. Why would I live for anybody else? Okay, back on topic. Sorry, I got into a little rant. The driving point here is live for you, because then you would never have to LARP in your life. So, how are we living instead of LARPing? Well, I'm going to ask you three different questions and hopefully you jot them down somewhere. Okay, so the first one, if you couldn't document or like take pictures of what you're about to do, like an activity, would you still do it? Two, is what you're doing actually what you want to do? Is it alignment with who you are? Three, and this is for the people who want to make it look aesthetic, whatever you're doing, what do you need to be romanticizing in order to achieve that aesthetic? Don't live for the sake of others just because this is what they're doing. I should probably do it too. Or, like you can get ideas. I think influencers do a good job of posing ideas, and people don't take that. They take the whole persona and they're like, yes, I'm going to live like this. And, there's just no meaning behind that. It needs to align with who you are and who you want to be. That's my biggest preach is if you're not in alignment with who you want to be or you don't know who you want to be, you don't know who you are, then you need to figure that out first before you're trying to follow all of these fads. You don't need to satisfy the like it's not even a need from others, it's a need for yourself to feel like you need to fit in. You just need to make yourself happy. There's no need to perform just because that's what everyone's doing. You know, you can make everything look aesthetic the way you want it to look. And if other people aren't happy or if they're not understanding the aesthetic, that's their problem. It's your life. Why are we basing your life on other people's opinions? Stop comparing yourself and lock in, twin. That's my message today. But the all in all here is live authentically so that you never have to LARP a day in your life. You can live the way that you want to live all the time and, get ideas from other people. Like that's why I get Pinterest. Like I love Pinterest so much. It's like my favorite app in the world. And why? It's because I'm like, well, I don't know what to wear. Let's describe what I want to wear. And then I can see other people piecing it together. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm trying to achieve. I have something like that. But then what if I add that? Like it's ideation, it's not who I'm going to be. So use influence for ideation, not so much for like direction. I think too many people are using it for direction rather than trying to figure out themselves and asking themselves the same questions of like, who am I? And whether or not something fits with who you are. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and love.